Have you ever walked into a room and felt invisible, or worse, felt belittled by someone who doesn't value your time, effort, or presence? Here's the truth. Respect is not something you beg for, it's something you command by your actions and boundaries. And the way you respond to people who disrespect you doesn't just define them, it defines you. Today, we're going to explore 5 powerful ways to handle people who don't respect you, transform those moments of frustration into opportunities for growth and self-empowerment. Before you can demand respect from anyone else, you must first understand and fully recognize your own value. Respect is never something you can borrow from others. It begins with how you see yourself. Many people spend their lives seeking validation from others, waiting for recognition, approval, or a nod of acknowledgement before they feel worthy. But here's the truth. The moment you let someone else define your value, you give them the power to shape your emotions, your decisions, and even your self-worth. That is a dangerous place to live. True respect starts internally. It begins when you acknowledge that you are enough, that your time matters, your ideas matter, and your presence is significant. Take a moment and reflect on your life. What are your strengths? What have you accomplished that makes you proud? What values guide the choices you make every day? These are not just abstract concepts, they are your foundation. When you fully internalize them, you create an unshakable sense of self-respect. People who fail to respect you often do so because they sense insecurity, hesitation, or self-doubt. If you are clear about your value, their words, actions, or attempts to belittle, you will bounce off instead of piercing through. This isn't about arrogance or superiority, it's about clarity. When you know what you stand for, you set the tone for how others will treat you. Recognizing your own value also requires honesty. Many of us underestimate ourselves because we compare our journey to someone else's highlight reel. But comparison is the enemy of respect because it distorts your perception of worth. Instead of measuring your value against others, measure it against your own principles, growth, and integrity. This mindset shifts the power dynamic. You no longer wait for someone to acknowledge your worth, you carry it with you. When you walk into a room with this kind of awareness, your presence naturally commands respect. People respond to confidence that is grounded in authenticity, not pretense. Another critical part of recognizing your own value is taking responsibility for your life. Respecting yourself means refusing to tolerate behavior that diminishes you. It means speaking up when someone undermines you and knowing when to walk away from situations that drain your energy. When you value yourself, you teach others how to treat you without having to say a word. Your actions, boundaries, and the standards you uphold become a mirror that others cannot ignore. Recognizing your own value is the first step toward taking control of your environment, your relationships, and ultimately, your life. It is the cornerstone of handling people who don't respect you because until you truly value yourself. No external respect will ever feel genuine or lasting. Respect cannot exist without boundaries. Boundaries are the invisible lines that define what behavior you will accept and what behavior you will not. Many people who struggle to handle disrespect do so because they have never clearly established these lines for themselves. Without boundaries, you are constantly at the mercy of other people's moods, opinions, and actions. People often push limits, sometimes intentionally and sometimes unconsciously, and without clear boundaries. Their behavior can slowly chip away at your confidence, self-esteem, and sense of security. Setting boundaries is not about being aggressive or confrontational. It's about creating a framework in which mutual respect can exist. The first step to setting boundaries is understanding what you will tolerate and what you won't. Take an honest look at the situations where you felt disrespected. Did you speak up or did you stay silent? Did you react impulsively? Or did you let the behavior slide? Recognizing patterns in these situations allows you to identify which behaviors are unacceptable and where you need to draw the line. Once you know what your boundaries are, the next step is communicating them clearly and assertively. People cannot respect boundaries they do not know exist. It is not enough to silently hope that others just understand. Boundaries must be expressed verbally and when possible, with calm, confident body language. Enforcing boundaries consistently is equally important. Many people set boundaries but fail to uphold them, and this inconsistency sends a signal that disrespect is acceptable. Each time someone crosses a boundary without consequence, it erodes your authority and weakens your self-respect. On the other hand, standing firm even in small ways sends a clear message. Your time, energy, and dignity are not negotiable. Boundaries also serve another important purpose. They protect your energy. When you establish limits, you prevent toxic or draining interactions from dominating your life. This allows you to focus on relationships and environments that uplift and support you. rather than constantly managing conflict or enduring disrespect. Another vital aspect of boundaries is understanding that saying no is not selfish. It is a form of self-respect. Too often, people fear setting limits because they worry about offending others or losing approval. But the truth is, if someone respects you, they will respect your limits. Boundaries create clarity, reduce stress, and foster healthier, more authentic relationships. They are a declaration that your dignity is non-negotiable and that you will not allow anyone to undermine it. By setting and maintaining boundaries, you are not only protecting yourself from disrespect, you are also teaching others how to treat you and demonstrating that self-respect is the first step toward earning the respect of others. Disrespect often triggers an immediate emotional response: anger, frustration, hurt, or even the desire to lash out. It's a natural reaction. After all, when someone undermines your value, it feels personal. But here's the crucial difference between reacting and responding. Reacting is impulsive, uncontrolled, and often escalates the situation, while responding is thoughtful, intentional, and guided by purpose. People who are adept at handling disrespect understand that their actions in the moment define their character far more than the behavior of the person who provoked them. Responding, rather than reacting, is not about suppressing your feelings or letting others walk over you. It's about taking control of the situation and demonstrating composure, strength, and self-respect. When someone disrespects you, pause, take a breath, create a mental space between the action and your reaction. Ask yourself, what do I want to achieve here? Do I want to educate, assert myself, or disengage? This simple pause transforms your instinctive emotional reaction into a strategic response. For example, if a colleague publicly undermines your ideas in a meeting, reacting impulsively with anger may satisfy a temporary urge, but will likely damage your credibility and escalate tension. Instead, responding thoughtfully, acknowledging their point, if necessary, calmly present your perspective, or following up privately projects confidence and control. People notice when someone handles a difficult situation with poise, and that perception often shifts the power dynamic in your favor. Responding also communicates that your emotions are yours, not theirs to manipulate. When someone tries to provoke you, their goal is often to elicit a reaction that validates their behavior. By responding intentionally, you remove that power. You become the leader of your own emotional state, and that is one of the most effective ways to command respect. Responding requires practice and mindfulness. It may feel counterintuitive at first, especially when provocation stings deeply, but the more you practice, the more natural it becomes. Over time, you'll notice that people who once tested your patience begin to think twice before crossing the line. Another benefit of responding rather than reacting is clarity. Emotions often cloud judgment, leading to decisions you may later regret. A thoughtful response allows you to choose words and actions aligned with your values and goals. It ensures that you remain in control of the narrative and prevents disrespectful behavior from defining the outcome. Responding, in essence, is a declaration that while you cannot always control the actions of others, you will always control your own. It is a deliberate, empowering choice that separates those who endure disrespect from those who rise above it. By mastering the art of response, you transform moments of conflict into opportunities to reinforce your self-respect, assert your boundaries, and demonstrate the strength of your character. Sometimes, no matter how clear your boundaries are or how calm and thoughtful your responses may be, people simply refuse to change. There are individuals who thrive on control, criticism, or undermining others, and engaging with them can drain your energy, steal your focus, and erode your self-confidence over time. In these situations, the most powerful and courageous action is to create distance. Distancing yourself is not about weakness or avoidance. It is a strategic choice to protect your mental, emotional, and sometimes even physical well-being. Recognizing when to step away is a skill that separates those who allow themselves to be diminished from those who preserve their dignity and prioritize their growth. Distance can take many forms. It might mean walking away from a toxic conversation before it escalates, limiting interaction with someone who consistently disrespects you, or in more extreme cases, removing yourself entirely from an environment that breeds negativity. This is not a passive retreat. It is a conscious, intentional decision to prioritize your energy and focus on what truly matters. Disrespect is contagious. The more time you spend in the presence of individuals who undermine, belittle, or demean, the more likely you are to internalize their negativity, consciously or unconsciously. By stepping back, you create space to regain perspective, recharge your confidence, and reinforce your boundaries. Distancing yourself also sends a clear message without the need for confrontation. Actions often speak louder than words, and choosing to disengage from someone who consistently disrespects you signals that your dignity is non-negotiable. It communicates that you value your time, your energy, and your mental peace over being validated or tolerated by someone who refuses to treat you with basic respect. At the same time, distance allows you to reassess your relationship with that person. You may discover that interactions you once felt obligated to maintain were unnecessary, and removing yourself may inspire others to reconsider their behavior as well. It is important to remember that distancing is not about holding grudges or seeking revenge. It is about self-preservation and empowerment. In doing so, you reclaim control over your environment and the company you keep. When you surround yourself with people who uplift, challenge, and respect you, you create a foundation for growth and positivity. Distancing from disrespectful individuals is not act of avoidance, it is an investment in your future, a demonstration of self-respect, and a reminder that the way others treat you is ultimately a reflection of your choices. Protecting your peace is not optional, it is essential to maintaining clarity, strength, and resilience in a world that does not always honor respect. One of the most powerful ways to handle people who don't respect you is to lead by example. Respect is rarely commanded through words alone. It is earned through consistent actions, integrity, and character. When you consistently demonstrate respect, fairness, and honesty toward others, even those who do not treat you the same way, you create a standard for how people are expected to behave. Actions speak louder than words, and when your behavior consistently aligns with your values, it communicates a quiet authority that cannot be ignored. People notice authenticity, and over time, those who witness your consistent character begin to measure their actions against the standard you have set. Leading by example begins with how you treat others, especially in challenging situations. When faced with disrespect, maintaining composure, responding thoughtfully, and not stooping to negativity shows that you operate on a higher level. Your behavior becomes a benchmark. It signals to others that while they may attempt to diminish you, you remain grounded, confident, and consistent. People may initially test your boundaries or try to provoke a reaction, but your consistent demonstration of respect and integrity creates an environment in which disrespect becomes noticeably unacceptable. Your example subtly teaches others the standard for interaction without ever needing to confront or lecture them. Consistency is key. Leading by example is not about performing for recognition. It is about internalizing a way of being that aligns with your values. It means treating people fairly, honoring your commitments, and acting ethically even when no one is watching. This level of consistency builds credibility and earns a type of respect that cannot be taken away. Even those who initially fail to respect you often begin to mirror your behavior, or at the very least recognize your authority and the weight of your presence. Leading by example does not guarantee that everyone will respect you, but it ensures that your self-respect remains intact and that your actions reflect the standards you expect from others. Leading by example also reinforces your boundaries without confrontation. When others see how you operate, they understand your standards implicitly. They observe that disrespectful behavior is not tolerated, not through argument or insistence, but through the quiet power of your actions. It is a demonstration that respect is a two-way street. You give it, you maintain it for yourself, and you model it for others. Over time, this approach cultivates a culture around you, whether in the workplace, in friendships, or in family, that encourages mutual respect, accountability, and trust. By embodying the qualities you wish to see in others, you not only protect your dignity, but also elevate the environment and influence those around you in ways that words alone could never achieve. Finally, one of the most liberating ways to handle people who don't respect you is to shift your focus from seeking approval to investing in your own growth. Far too often, people spend their energy chasing validation from those who will never offer it, believing that recognition from others defines their worth. This mindset is exhausting and ultimately unproductive because it ties your self-esteem to factors entirely outside of your control. Instead, the most powerful strategy is to detach from the need for approval and direct that energy toward improving yourself, developing new skills, deepening your knowledge, and building the life you aspire to lead. When you focus on growth rather than approval, disrespect loses its power over you because your value is no longer contingent on someone else's opinion. Investing in personal growth also builds an internal foundation of confidence that makes external criticism less threatening. The more you know your capabilities, the more skilled and knowledgeable you become, the less any act of disrespect can diminish your sense of self. Growth is a form of self-respect. When you dedicate time and effort to improving yourself, it signals that you care about your own journey, not someone else's perception of you. This mindset naturally attracts respect because people are drawn to competence, confidence, and dedication. Disrespectful individuals often target insecurity, but when your sense of worth is rooted in tangible achievements and ongoing self-improvement, their words and actions lose influence. Focusing on growth rather than approval also changes the way you interpret interaction. Instead of reacting emotionally to disrespect, you can analyze situations objectively and ask, what can I learn from this? How can I grow from this experience? Even negative encounters become opportunities to strengthen resilience, patience, and emotional intelligence. Over time, this approach transforms adversity into a tool for development rather than a source of frustration. It shifts your perspective from being a victim of disrespect to being an active participant in your own growth, demonstrating that your energy and attention are too valuable to be wasted on negativity. Furthermore, when you invest in growth, you begin to surround yourself with like-minded individuals who uplift and inspire you, rather than drain you with criticism and disrespect. This creates a positive feedback loop. The more you grow, the more you command respect naturally, and the more your environment reinforces your values. Detaching from the need for approval is not detachment from reality. It is prioritization of your life, your energy, and your future. Respect becomes a byproduct of the person you are becoming rather than something you must demand from others. By focusing on growth, you reclaim control over your journey, your emotions, and your influence, ensuring that disrespect never dictates your self-worth or trajectory. Respect is not something we can demand. It is earned through the way we value ourselves and the boundaries we set. Handling people who don't respect you begins with recognizing your own worth and understand that your self-respect is the foundation of all meaningful interactions. When you are grounded in your value, you are no longer at the mercy of others' opinions or actions. You understand that respect flows from authenticity and confidence, and you carry that power into every situation. The self-awareness is not arrogance, it is clarity. It equips you to face disrespect with composure rather than reaction, transforming challenges into opportunities to demonstrate your strength and integrity. Setting boundaries and responding thoughtfully are essential extensions of this self-respect. When you clearly define what behavior you will tolerate and what you will not, and when you respond rather than react to disrespect, you reclaim control over your interaction. These practices create a framework for relationships that honor your dignity while keeping negativity at bay. People will test your limits, but your consistent, measured approach signals that your time, energy, and presence are non-negotiable. In doing so, you model the standards you expect from others and create a ripple effect of accountability and respect around you. Equally important is knowing when to distance yourself from those who persistently disrespect you. Stepping away is not a sign of weakness, it is a deliberate act of self-preservation. Toxic interactions drain energy and stifle growth, and choosing to disengage allows you to protect your peace while focusing on relationships that uplift and support you. By surrounding yourself with people who encourage growth, challenge you positively, and honor your presence, you create an environment where respect is the default, not the exception. Leading by example further reinforces this principle, showing others that respect is not demanded but reflected through consistent, ethical, and authentic behavior. Finally, focusing on personal growth rather than seeking approval from others is the ultimate strategy to handle disrespect. When your energy is directed toward improving yourself, learning new skills, and building your future, the opinions of those who refuse to respect you lose power. Growth strengthens confidence, resilience, and self-worth, creating an inner foundation that is untouchable by negativity. By practicing these strategies, recognizing your values, setting boundaries, responding thoughtfully, distancing when necessary, leading by example, and prioritizing growth, you not only handle disrespect effectively, but also elevate your character, influence, and life trajectory. Respect becomes a reflection of who you are, not a concession you seek from others. Thank you so much for watching this video. Remember, respect starts with you. And the way you handle people who don't respect you can transform your life. If this video inspired you, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more empowering content. Stay confident, stay strong, and always value yourself. Goodbye for now, and see you in the next video.